This is the Marketing Made Easy for HR Consultants podcast, a show to help independent UK-based HR consultants get a pipeline of perfect fit, high-paying clients without expensive adverts, time-consuming social media activities, or energy-sapping and monotonous networking meetings. I'm your host, Nick Paninsky, author of How to Land Your Dream Client, a book which explains everything you need to know to get every sale and client you ever want. And if that sounds interesting, then make sure to grab your copy from the influential consultant website today. That being said, let's get into today's show.
Hello there, and welcome back to another episode of Marketing Made Easy for HR Consultants with me, Nick Paninsky. On today's episode, we are going to talk about the book. We're going to talk about the missing link between my book and your results. See, most people who buy business books never implement a single thing from them or they never get the promised result. Why? Not because the book is bad or the information isn't helpful. Life gets in the way, the things to implement are too difficult. Change is hard. So if you've bought my book and you're not seeing results, this episode is for you. You're going to discover what to expect in the book, some high-level promises, the overall theory of the book in case you've missed it when reading through, and why people don't get the results they're expecting and what they should do about that. At this point, I do want to say that if you've read the book and you don't understand something or it doesn't make sense, then please do feel free to reach out to me to ask for help. I know in my book I say not to message me and ask if what you've created is right, because I don't work for free. But asking me to explain a concept or a theory of the book is perfectly within your rights. And as corny as it sounds, I'm here for your success. And if the book that you've got doesn't help you for some reason, I want to know about it so I can help you. And then potentially others too. Because the chances are, if you've not understood something for some reason, then perhaps others have misunderstood it too. After all, I'm not perfect and the book might be better explained. So I'm happy to elaborate on concepts and then, potentially record a podcast episode specifically about that issue or other issues. So yes, please do reach out to me if something you've read in the book isn't clear. And that being said, let's crack on with today's show, which is all about the missing link between my book and your results. And before we do move on, if you've not got a copy of the book just yet, then make sure to do it because it's less than the price of a bottle of wine. But more importantly, it's bloody excellent, even if I do say so myself. So let's get started. Let's talk about the promise of the book, the theory, and the activities that achieve that theory. So the book promises a 70k HR consultancy. To reinforce that promise, 70k is literally £50 an hour over a 6-hour working day over 46 weeks of the year. Can you charge that? Can you achieve that? I'm not saying that's exactly what you have to do. I'm not saying you should charge £50 an hour. What I am saying is if you can charge £50 an hour, can you work 6 hours a day? Can you work 46 weeks of the year? If so, you can have a 70k HR consultancy. All you got to do is put the right strategy to work. And that's what this book is all about, the strategy that you can plug in. So first up, the strategy, identify who you want to work with, because everything is much easier when you know who and what you're looking for. For example, if I said to you, find 100 SMEs by next Wednesday, you might struggle, right? And the reason that I say SMEs is because I know a lot of HR consultants say that they work with SMEs. But SMEs can come in any shape and size, and that's overwhelming and vague. But if you said that your perfect audience was tech startups with fewer than 100 employees, I said go and find 100 of them, you'd know what you were looking for. That makes things a lot easier. Then it's just a case of finding them, right? So you can employ somebody on a website like People Per Hour to collate a list of these businesses for you, or you can invest in LinkedIn Premium and use the filters to identify these people. Then it's a case of getting into conversations with them. However you want to do that is up to you. That's what lead generation is, right? And there's templates and scripts in the book to do as much of the heavy lifting as possible for you. You can even use ChatGPT to tweak these scripts and templates and whatever else for your needs. So if you want to send out letters, then send out letters. There's an example sales page. All you got to do, copy, paste, tweak, ChatGPT. If you want to make cold calls, make cold calls. If you want to sit in your pajamas and DM on LinkedIn, then sit in your pajamas and DM on LinkedIn. You might even want to get your teenager to do it for you. It's just copy and paste. And, I know that HR consultants really like networking. So listen, if you want to go networking, and then there's a template elevator pitch for you to fill in the gaps. So you've got an ear-yankingly great elevator pitch that stops people in their tracks and makes them pay attention. Whatever lead gen method is for you, lean into it, do it. I've done as much of the heavy lifting as possible. Templates, scripts, instructions, all you've got to do is put it into action. Next up, converting anyone who responds to you into either a qualifying call or giving them your lead magnet so that you can nurture and sell to them at some other time if they're not interested right now. Now, to touch on this, the power of the lead magnet is that you share something useful and valuable that introduces them to your world. So something like a HR health check, for example. That would be some sort of checklist, highlights the gaps in their business and helps them understand that they need help. But it also positions you as the expert and someone they can trust, and they journey into your world a little bit so that you can begin that know, like, trust process that takes a stranger into a client. For those, however, that have put their hand up and say, yeah, let's have a call. I don't want to join your mailing list. I want to get on a phone. I want to get my problem sorted. Then you get them onto a qualifying call. You've got to work out if you want to help them, if you can help them, and if they're ready and willing to invest in a solution with you. Again, there's a full script for you to follow and copy and paste, and it's all based on psychology. So you're positioned as an expert rather than some eager beaver ready and willing to work with anyone and everyone and drop your fees in the process. There's a big difference between the two positions and how much they get paid, right? And that's really important. Just because someone's responded doesn't mean you drop everything and say, oh my God, let's get on a call. You've got to play like an expert. Okay, talk to me. Tell me what's going on in your world. Then you invite them onto the call. For those who join your mailing list, nurture them and sell to them in due course. That's how you build up a pipeline. You've got people who you can help immediately, people who you can potentially help in the future. Again, there are full scripts and templates and instructions on that. And if you're unsure about what to send out, feel free to copy and paste the emails I send out, the templates from the book. Feel free to just copy and paste it all into ChatGPT and tweak them for your needs. No problems. After that, for those who've put their hand up and said, yeah, I want some help, and you've gone through a qualifying process with them, it's time for a sales call. You understand more about their world, what's stopping them having that wonderful life, what that wonderful world looks like to them. So you understand that there's a gap there. They understand that there's a gap there. They understand what happens if they don't get that wonderful life. They understand what the wonderful life looks like and why they want it. Then you position your solution as the answer to that problem, i.e. they are on one side of the bridge and they've got problems. They want to be on the other side of the bridge. They want more pleasure in their life. Your solution will give that to them. They say, oh my God, that sounds amazing. You sign them up as a client. I know I'm being facetious there, but that's the theory. You've got the scripts, you've got the templates, you've got everything you need. All you got to do is put it into action. After that, repeat, 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 repeat. Simple, simple, simple. At the heart of this, though, lead gen, lead gen, lead gen. Because without leads, the rest of the process falls apart. No one to qualify, no one to sell to, no one to add to your email list to build a pipeline to sell to some other time. Then once you've got people who are your clients, you need to turn them into more clients. The book shows you how to do this with a variety of tactics and strategies. Overall, talk to people consistently. Talk to the right people consistently. Capture leads. Your mailing list is your business pipeline. Nurture them. Provide value. Build trust. Stay top of mind. Once you're inviting people onto a call with you, you work out whether or not you want to work with them, whether or not they're ready and willing to invest in a solution, whether or not you want to help them. That's when you sell to them. Then you turn them into more clients once they've become a client. It's your marketing engine. It works 24/7 when you've set it up properly. That's everything that's in the book. And that's the theory. It's all simple and straightforward because there are instructions and scripts and templates, and the book is all killer, no filler. It's kind of like building a piece of IKEA furniture, right? All the instructions are there, and it's as idiot-proof as it can be. But that is where the issue comes into play and why some people, let's be honest, most people, they won't get the result they were expecting and hoping for from the book because even the best IKEA instructions won't work for some people. That's why they have the helpline number. And if you saw my LinkedIn post at the weekend, you'll know I'm one of those who struggles with IKEA. So if the theory is solid, the real issue isn't what's in the book, right? The real issue is with people and implementing what they've read. So why do people struggle to get results from the book, even with this simple plan, even with all the heavy lifting taken care of? Well, there are 5 common reasons why people struggle. Firstly, they're not talking to enough of the right people. They're not doing enough lead generation. Now, not all conversations move the needle, and it's not just about talking to people in general. It's about talking to the right people, ideal clients, decision makers, people with the problem that you solve. So as I say, identify who those people are, then get talking to them. Whether or not that's direct mail, whether or not that's DMing, whether it's cold calling, whatever it is, you need to get into conversations with these people on repeat. Some HR consultants, they are stuck in a loop of safe conversations with their peers. You know, they get on the phone with other HR consultants, have a bit of a natter. So well and good, you know, we all need friends, we all need people to compare notes with, but they are not going to get you leads and clients. Potentially, some HR consultants might pass over a lead or two if it's not right for them, or they might give you associate work, but that's kind of low paid. So yeah, they are nice conversations, but they are not essential conversations. Other HR consultants, they're getting stuck in conversations with people who will never buy. That's what qualifying is all about. Identifying whether or not they want help, whether or not you can help them, whether or not you want to help them, and most importantly, whether or not they are ready and willing to invest in a solution with you. Alternatively, there's a lot of people dabbling in LinkedIn networking, but it's sporadic, not strategic. So if your idea of lead generation is going to a networking event every so often, hoping for the best, posting on LinkedIn, hoping for the best, yeah, I've sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but to be blunt, that's not marketing, that's hopium. That is hoping and praying for something to change, but it isn't a strategy. You need to be visible to the right people. The second reason why people fail with the book is because that they capture people, they speak to people, they put them on their mailing list, but they don't send out regular value, right? So this is either inconsistency or is absence of information. So the list is there, people have opted in. So HR consultant has spoken to someone, they've said, yeah, I don't want your help right now, maybe in the future. HR consultant has said, okay, here's a lead magnet, here's my HR health checklist. And you know the person's gone away, filled it in, realized that there's an issue with their business, but they're not necessarily ready to buy just yet. The idea now is to send valuable content regularly. So if the HR consultant isn't emailing them or often enough to stay top of mind, then how can you nurture that person? How can you turn that person from a potential, from a lead into a client? You're not contacting them. You're not saying, hey, I'm still here. Hey, I'm still here. Hey, you've got this problem. Here's how I can help. There's no routine. It's just silence. It's a consistency problem. Your list isn't a list of strangers. If you've got a mailing list, if you've got a mailing list of contacts, people who've said they might want help in the future, people who you've helped previously, you need to be regularly contacting them. Again, if you don't know what to send, go and copy and paste what I'm sending. I don't mind whatsoever. Change it for your needs, no problem. This is this list. This is your pipeline. This is how you destroy feast or famine. It's a list of people who've said, yes, I want to hear from you. So speak to them. The alternative to this is that they send out nurture content that's random, confusing, or overly salesy. So this is about poor execution of the content that's being sent out. So they are emailing, but the content isn't strategic, it isn't helpful, or maybe it's not aligned. It lacks direction. Sometimes it might just be a hard sell every time instead of like saying, hey, do you want some HR services now? That's not great. That's not going to be building trust. Nurturing is about guiding people from I don't know to I trust you. It's complicated, but you do need to have a plan. You need to understand what they believe and these mistaken beliefs that they've got. You need to understand the myths that they're believing. You need to understand what they want to hear about. Then you can use stories to identify, to talk about these beliefs, rewire these beliefs, and say at the bottom of the email, if you need to chat, here I am. Fourth reason people don't get the expected reply from the book is that they are afraid to sell, or they don't know when or how to do it. So even though there's all the information in the book, as I say, how to monetize your email list, all that good stuff, they're afraid to sell. So most HR consultants, in fact, every HR consultant I've met are great at helping. They are great at HR. But a lot of them hate the idea of selling. If I say to them, time for a sell, they get cold sweats. They hate that. So they avoid it. And the problem is it's a misunderstanding about what sales is. And I talk about this in the book, and I will release a podcast in the future delving a bit deeper into it. But selling, as I said earlier, it is super important. It is basically having a conversation, identifying where they're at, where they want to get to, and how your service will help them. Alternatively, some HR consultants try to sell too early without building enough trust, and some only do it passively, like, let me know if you need support, but please get in contact. No one responds to that kind of stuff. It's basically saying, give me money, and people aren't going to respond to that. People respond to information that changes their beliefs, that says, I need some help, and then you say, yeah, get in touch if you need help. So if you've built trust, if you've helped them solve small problems, they want to know how to go further with you. So selling isn't pushy, it's a service. The fifth reason why people don't get the expected result from the book is the most human of all the reasons. Effectively, life. So life happens, confidence dips, or they think they've cracked it and they move on. So illness, burnout, imposter syndrome, whatever the trigger, consistency slips. So maybe they don't go out and do their lead gen. Maybe they don't contact their email list. Whatever it is, for some reason, they stop putting the work in. And it's not just personal setbacks. Sometimes they try the plan for a few weeks, don't see immediate results, assume it's not working, so they stop. Or they put the plan in for a few weeks, they get the results, then they stop. And they think, great, I've cracked it. But momentum doesn't sustain itself. You've got to keep going. It's like going to the gym and getting fit. You can't say, oh, well, I'm fit now. I'm done with exercising forever. It doesn't work like that. You've got to keep going. You've got to keep putting in the reps. You don't just need a plan. You need to repeat the plan. And when they don't repeat it, when the conversations stop, when the emails stop, when the offers stop, so do the leads, clients, sales, and profits. When in doubt, go back to the plan. Talk to people, get them on your list, nurture them, sell, repeat. It works. It will still work, even if you've had a little moment and you've dropped the ball. To help you with this problem, there is the LAPS formula that I talk about in the book. Leads, appointments, presentations, sales. This helps you identify where things have broken down so you can fix it instead of quitting. So if you haven't got enough leads, then you need to know, you need to go out and lead gen. If you don't have enough appointments, if you're not having any meetings, again, you've got a problem converting leads into people saying, yes, I'm interested. If you're not having enough meetings where you're giving a presentation, then there's something happening between your appointments and your presentations. Someone is finding somewhere where they're saying, I'm not interested. And if you're giving all your presentations and not getting sales, then there's a problem with your presentation or your objection handling. Find the hole, repair it. This is your pipeline. This is the way to build a 70K or more HR consultancy. If there's a reason that you are not getting the results that you're expecting, it's because there's a problem with leads, appointments, presentations, or sales. So identify the issue and then repair it. Okay, now we've looked at why most people struggle to get results, even with that simple plan. Now we are going to look at why people struggle to apply the book. So this section, we're going to zoom in on those internal blockers, the quiet, sneaky stuff that stops people from taking action, even when the plan is clear. And this is a simple look at what is basically normal human behavior. This isn't an attack on anybody. This is normal stuff. I've gone through this. Everyone I know has gone through this. This is normal stuff. So the first reason why people struggle to apply the book, overwhelm. There's too much information. They're not sure where to start. Probably my fault for giving so much value away in the book. So let's be honest. There's a lot of information in the book, right? It's packed. It's practical. But if someone's feeling uncertain or lacking confidence, even great information like what's inside the book, can feel like too much information. So they get the book, they flick through and they think, wow, there's loads in here. And instead of taking action, they freeze. They tell themselves, I'll come back to this when I've got more time, more clarity, more confidence. But they never do. It ends up collecting digital dust on their desktop, or, if they've printed it out, like one client sent a picture to me, she'd printed it out, the book could perhaps gather dust in a drawer. So it becomes shelf help instead of self-help. All the potential is there, but nothing's happening. So what my message to you would be, start small. Pick one section, even if it's just the lead gen part, and take action. You don't need to master everything in one go. You just need to get moving. So, schedule an hour a day where you read and implement from the book, even half an hour. Rather than feeling overwhelmed and feeling like you have to do everything at once, just take it step by step. I mean, imagine it'd be like trying to eat a roast dinner in one bite. Instead of that, pick up your fork, choose one thing, start from there. The second reason why people might struggle to apply the book is because of a lack of clarity on how to apply it to their business. So here's something I see all the time. People read the book, they nod along, they think, yes, this makes so much sense. But then they close the book and suddenly they feel stuck. Because even though the plan is clear and they want what is on offer, they don't know how to apply it to their specific situation. So, they might ask themselves, so does this mean I should post on LinkedIn or not? How many times should I email? Should I even go networking? Is my audience clear enough? Am I still vague? What should my lead magnet be? Etc., etc. So they ask, there's that lack of clarity. They ask themselves a lot of questions, get themselves muddled up. They end up second guessing everything. And when you're guessing, you slow down, you lose momentum. You try something, don't feel confident, pull back. So it's not that they're struggling with the strategy, because the book gives them that. They're struggling with context. They don't know how to take the strategy, translate it to their business, their clients, their tone of voice, their confidence level, their skill set, whatever it is. And this is especially true for solo HR consultants who don't have that sounding board. It's just them and the four walls, and they're staring at a blank screen thinking, what the hell do I actually say to a potential client? Now, this is where support matters. You don't need a new plan. You don't need a course. You don't need another book. You need someone to look at your business and say, that's too vague. Let's make your audience sharper. This lead magnet is great. Here's how to make it work. Here's what your follow-up email should actually say. And I'm not saying that means that you should DM me and work with me. If that's something that you want to do, then consider it. Send me a DM, no problem. But what I am saying is that support can come in any way, shape, or form. So perhaps you have peers, other HR consultants, who've got a copy of the book. Perhaps you can form a work group and work through the book together. There's nothing stopping you leaning on each other for support. Ideally, this will drive you together forward. You can share, you can exchange ideas, you can help each other improve, you can help each other iterate, and you can help each other move forward. This book, it gives you the framework, but if you're not sure how to plug it into your business, that's not a failure on your part. It's just a sign that you might need support, and that's okay. Let me give you an analogy. It's like being given a great recipe, but you don't know where to go to adapt it to what's in your fridge. So the book gives you the ingredients and the method, but your business isn't identical to everyone else's. So maybe you've got different spices. Maybe you're gluten-free. Maybe you're cooking for 1, not 6. That doesn't mean that you need a new recipe. You just need someone to say, swap this for that, tweak that bit here, you're good to go. As I say, if you want to, form a work group with your fellow HR consultants, exchange ideas, and help each other implement. Alternatively, if you want to, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm going to give you a bit more of information about how we can potentially work together at the end of the show. But for now, I'm going to move on. The third reason why people get in their own way, why they don't apply the book to their business, is because they fall back to old habits. They do bits of marketing with no plan. Now, this one's super common. People want to follow the system, they mean to do it properly, but when they sit down to take action, they fall back into what they've always done. A bit of content here and there, a random networking event, posting once on LinkedIn and calling it marketing. Why do they do this? It's familiar, it feels productive, but it's not strategic. There's no rhythm, there's no routine, there's no clear path. It's just activity without intention, and it creates the illusion of progress, but doesn't really move the business forward in a strategic way to move forward with confidence. Now, the fastest way to move forward is to stop changing direction every few steps. Random acts of marketing will not get you the business that you want, the business that you want, the results that you want. It's like trying to lose weight by doing one run, one swim, one yoga session, one juice cleanse, one spin class with no plan or consistency. You're exhausted. You're not making progress. The fourth reason people don't get what they want out of the book is a lack of accountability. This is a silent killer of momentum. Here's how it plays out. You start the book, take some action, send a few messages, life gets in the way, you slow down. You're not seeing instant results, so you assume that you're doing it wrong. No one's checking in, no one's saying keep going, you're nearly there, no one's saying you need to tweak this, that, the other. And without that little bit of push or that bit of reassurance, they give up. Now, this is tying back to a little bit about getting a support network. This doesn't mean, though, that they're lazy. It means they're human. And without accountability, it's really easy to stop before things start working. It's really easy to slip back into old, easy habits. And it's really easy to let fear win the day. So without accountability, without someone holding you to account, like a PT in the gym, it's easy to think you're failing and giving up. And the worst part, you might be just 5% off, which is a really fixable gap. But now you've quit and you've gone back to old habits. It's kind of like training for a marathon without a running buddy. You'll skip sessions, lose focus, start doubting yourself, but with someone by your side, you show up, even on the bad days. Fifth and final reason I want to talk about is perfectionism, or the fear of failing. This one's a sneaky one. It pretends to be high standards. We've all been there. This is what it sounds like. I'm just not ready yet. Let me tweak it one more time. I'll do it next week. I just need to fix this one thing. But underneath, it's fear. Fear of not being good enough, fear of putting yourself out there and hearing crickets or being judged or criticism or looking foolish. So instead of taking imperfect action, they stay stuck in planning, tweaking, rewriting, and doing nothing. Perfection is a clever disguise for fear, but progress beats perfect every single time. This would be like trying to learn to swim by reading every book on swimming, but never get into the pool. And that's it. That's today's episode. I hope you found it useful. I hope it helps you understand what icebergs are on the horizon, what might come along and throw you off course, what might destroy your progress. Because honestly, the book has all the information you need. All you need to do is turn up and apply it. As I said earlier, like the IKEA instruction manual. But here's the thing, as I said about the IKEA instruction manual, not everyone's built for IKEA. I'm building IKEA furniture, just like I'm not. And some people, they might struggle to implement all the information from the book. They might want that reassuring arm around their shoulder. So here's two things to consider. If you're struggling and you're thinking of giving up, maybe you've tried bits of the plan, but you didn't get the results fast enough, so you've stopped. If that's the case, here's the truth. If you give up now, you'll get what you've always got. Nothing changes unless you change. You know this. You say it to your clients. Same rules apply here. So don't give up. Trust the process. Keep moving forward and get help when and if you need it. The second thing that I want to say is if you're following the plan, but it's not quite clicking yet, if you're doing the work, but the results aren't matching the effort, that doesn't mean that the system doesn't work. It just means that it's a time for you to diagnose and tweak what isn't working. And that's what the LAPS formula is for. Look at where your process is falling short, repair it, keep going. Marketing is a system. If it's not producing the results, it's just because one part isn't doing its job, and that's fixable. Think of this as your pipeline into your business. You've turned on the tap, you're doing all your lead generation. If the tap isn't spitting out clients by the end, there is something going wrong with the pipeline. There is an issue somewhere along there. So that's what the LAPS formula is all about, identifying where you are falling short. Finally, if you're listening along and you're thinking, do you know what, all this makes sense. I want that 70K or more HR consultancy, and I want it fast. If that's you, then don't sit on the sidelines. Send me a DM, reply to one of my emails, let's talk. No pressure, no hard sales, no twisting your arm around your back, just a conversation to see if I can help you, to understand where you're at, where you want to get to, and if I can help. If I can, then we'll have a further conversation. If I can't, then no harm, right? Either way, I hope this episode has been helpful to understand the book in more detail and why you aren't getting the results you want, if that's the case, or why you might not get the results that you want. Remember, the plan works. It's simple. Talk to people, get them on your list, nurture, sell, repeat. If you're not getting the results yet, fix the leak. Don't abandon the system. And if you want help doing that, I am just a message away. In the meantime, as ever, get marketing, because without marketing, there's no sales. And without sales, there's no business. So get marketing.
Hey there, and thanks for listening to the Marketing Made Easy for HR Consultants podcast. If you've enjoyed the show, then please consider taking a minute to help us grow by sharing the episode with a friend or colleague, or by leaving a positive review on podchaser.com. And make sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the upcoming episodes if you haven't done so already. I've been your host, Nick Paninsky, and if you've got any questions or you want to know more about today's topic, then feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'd be delighted to hear from you. See you next time.